Hello, good evening, everybody. This is Joyce from BoCute Creations. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday evening. I am so excited. I've got so many projects I want to do tonight that I don't even know which one to, even show you first. So I'm just really excited. We had a great weekend at the Lemon. When life gives you lemon, you turn it into something pretty. So we had that retreat this weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. So that was a lot of fun. Let's see. Diana, hello, good evening. How are you? Good evening. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Oh. No, I'm just kidding. So tonight we're going to talk resin. Some people talk turkey. We talk resin. So we're going to talk some resin tonight. All right, let's see. Let me find my comments here. There we go. Bring this up so I can see my comments from you guys. Let's see. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how to get these comments up. They've changed my Facebook page thing a little bit that I'm used to looking at. So my comments are a little on the odd side. So let me just get those up real quick while everybody is signing on. And then we will get ourselves up and running. If you look at the photos on Facebook, Anne's like, I'm going to listen while I drive. Well, please be careful, Anne. Please be careful. Good evening. All right, so let's see. We're going to talk resin tonight, and not crystal clear epoxy resin. We're going to talk polyurethane resin that, guess what? You can curve. So if you look at some of the pieces that we made on the front of our, hi Sharon, if you look at the pieces that we made on the front of our books at the creative crop that we just had this past weekend, you'll see that we made them out of polyurethane resin. And I'm going to kind of show you guys how that was done today. Hi, Vicki. How are you? So, but also there's a couple of things that I was going to show you that's coming up. If you guys want to register for the Victorian ATC coins, you guys need to register quickly because those kits need to be mailed out. So I'm going to show you what those look like, and you can see pictures under our photos. Hi, Sybil. How are you? Good to see you. I'm going to grab 3 of my molds that I have here because I want to use them tonight. So let me go ahead and grab those. And these are just my silicone molds that I have handy. I don't know which ones I want to use, so I'm just going to grab them all because, you know, we can't ever decide that. We need to figure that out, you know. I'm going to clear myself a little bit of space here, but while we're talking, I hope everybody is great. Also, I want to show you this most gorgeous tray that I made. So I have all these things and this project that I did with our fun fronts. So I really don't even know what project to start on today, you guys, because, you know, I just want to do all the things. So I love being able to have this time with you guys because this is my playtime. So I just get the fact I get to show you guys what I'm playing with. So that's my fun. Okay. Let me put the camera on picture in picture so that you guys can see what I am working with tonight. Okay, here we go. Picture in picture. Look how beautiful. All right, so I'm hoping more people. Hi, Barb from the Space Coast. So I'm hoping that you guys will see some of these things and know that these are classes that are coming up. If you guys want to take them, you've got to register because we're only making kits for those that register. So you want to be sure you secure your spot because we don't want you to miss out. All right, so let me show you what I have here in front of me. By the way, I just want to say that if you've been seeing all of those beautiful samples online from my design team, guys, I really just make it up and they make me look amazing. So give our designers a shout out when you guys see them. Hi, Teresa. When you guys see our posts go up from our designers, because they work really hard to bring you inspiration and all these beautiful things. Really, I just come up with it and they make me look fabulous. So please give them a round of applause or some sort of acknowledgement. All of that stuff they've done, and they're doing a fabulous job. So I just want you guys to know to please be on the lookout for all of the inspiration and say thank you to them, because without them, you wouldn't be getting this beautiful inspiration all the time, because I don't have the time these days. So they're amazing. So, all right, with that being said, first of all, on the 25th of October, I'm sorry, 25th of September. I'm already in October already. The 25th of September, which is coming up. We have a little under 10 days. So if you want to participate, you need to make sure that you get registered or add to cart tonight for the Victorian ATC coins. This is what you get. You get a kit that has the flitter glue. It has the gilding flakes. It has the stamp for the back of the artist trading coin. You get the trading coins and the images, and this is going to be a hybrid class where it is an online in-person class. So whether you are wanting to come over from the Space Coast or whether you want to join us from coast to coast, you're allowed to do that because it's going to be a hybrid class. So don't think that it's just for the people who are here. If you're online and you want to join us, you can absolutely add to cart. And you get 3, 6, 9, 12 images. We're going to make 6 ATC coins. Everything you need is in the kit, including the images and the coins themselves. Plus, you get a stamp. So this lovely stamp that says Artist Trading Coin, that stamp comes in your kit. So if you see the images from our online, we did some beautiful ones. So that is coming up on the 25th of September. So if you want to participate in that, oh, it's your son's birthday. Well, tell me, say happy birthday. All right. The next thing I want to show you is this most gorgeous, absolutely fabulous tray that I made. Now, guys, when I say this is the very first time, I just want to make sure that I am heard very loud and clear. This is the first project that I have ever made that has been made 100% by BoQ Creations. I'm talking from every aspect. The tray was made on our laser. The paper is my Victorian lace. The embellishments on the side I made. So I'm just really, really excited that this is the very, very first time I have ever made anything from start to finish that is absolutely 100% BoQ made. So I'm super excited about that. I know that seems like a really stupid thing to be excited about, but yeah, it's absolutely the most exciting thing when I realized that I did this tray all 100% from BoQ Creation. So that makes me very happy that we are reaching a point when we can make the whole project ourselves. So if you are interested in one of these trays, add it to cart. Let me know. You can put it together. It's made on our laser. And tonight I'm going to talk about these beautiful embellishments right here. We will be having a class on this tray next month. So I'm really excited to be bringing you that class. So if you are wanting to take this class and create it yourself, we are definitely going to have a class next month, but if you just want the kit, we got that too. Okay. So, there you go. Isn't that beautiful? What a great gift to give somebody. This is a nice little trinket tray that you can put your makeups in, or maybe your glues, or, you know, what have you. And it just is made even more beautiful by the, oh, I missed the whole tray talk. Are you serious? Oh no. Did you hear it, Marina? Or was I just, if I was frozen, I'll go back and say it. Oh, Diana, it is on, I'm sorry, I don't have the, schedule right here in my hand, but if you give me just a second, I can let you know at BoQCreations.com. If you look, down a little bit, about halfway down under the fun fronts, you will see our calendar, and the calendar it is a $30 class. It says Victorian ATC coins, 7 p.m., $30. There we go. So it is right there on the website. So thank you for asking, Diana, because I wasn't sure. Teresa said, I heard it. Okay, good. Yes. All right, perfect. So 100% BoQ and USA made, because guess what? There's not a single thing on this tray that is not made here in the US. So woohoo! I'm really excited about that. Yeah. Stupid, I know, but it marks a turning point in BoQ's evolution. So really excited about this tray and everything that came along with it. So thank you guys so much for supporting us for all of this time. I know this seems like such a fickle thing, but you know, it's just very nice to be able to hold something that I did not have to buy pieces from somebody else. And you guys won't have to either, because we make these in 2 sizes. It's this one that you can use your 12 by 12s on, and then a smaller one that is a little bit larger than this guy right here. So yeah, so there's that. Okay, because I could go on and on and on. I'm so excited. Now this little guy right here, this is going to be a class that's coming up with our fun fronts. And I just wanted to show you, I have these little shadow boxes. I've not painted this yet. I want to, but I have not done so yet. And then I took our fun fronts and I layered them all up. I put some foam dots on the back, and then these, I don't know if you guys can see them, but they are foil on acetate. Yeah, pretty cool, right? So this will be another broadcast, but these are foiled onto the acetate, and it is easier than you think. You don't have to have a foiling machine to do it. Isn't that cool? So anyway, this is going to go right on top of here, and then I'm going to frame it. And then it makes a cute little wall hanging or something that you can just sit on your desk. So it's really cool. So this is going to be a class coming up as well. I'm telling you all of this because Jennifer is getting our calendar ready for October, November, and December, because I know everything fills up fast, and I want to make sure that your holiday season is full of BoQ. So there you go. All right, now let's talk about resin. So there are several types of resin that we use in crafting. One is epoxy, which is what you're used to using, but there's also polyurethane resin. And the polyurethane resin is actually a resin that turns white, and it is a very, very fast setting resin. So that's what we used this weekend, and I wanted to make this gorgeous cameo right here on my... Here we go. Let me turn it this way. This gorgeous cameo right here so that I could put it on my trays or even my fleur-de-lis. But I'm probably going to be able to use a lot of different things from this mold. But I also have these molds. This one we actually have in stock. This is called English Garden. So I love this big piece right here. This is the one that we used on the front of our album. So we might make that. I also like these flourishes. This is the one that was used down the side of my album. And then, you know, I've got some other ones here that I may or may not use. It depends on how much resin I have left. So let's talk about the resin for a minute. First of all, when you are using resin, please make sure that you have alcohol and a pair of gloves. Because let me explain something to you. If you get resin on your hands, the first thing that people do is they run to the sink and they try to wash it off with water. Well, guess what? Resin does not wash off your hands. It will just spread onto your hands and make an ooey gooey sticky mess. So you must use alcohol to make sure you get it off your hands. So to avoid to avoid the resin getting on your hands, just put a pair of gloves on. Just put a pair of gloves. That's it, and then you can throw it away when you get it on your hands. All right. The next thing is make sure that 99% of the resins, including our ceramic. So we have a ceramic resin powder that we sell, and we have talked about this powder before. It makes pieces like this that look and feel like ceramic, almost like plaster. So you can hear that they are very much like plaster. The problem is when you drop these, they break. So, but it's still nonetheless fun. It depends on what you are using them for as to how you want to. Oh my goodness, my camera is wonky. Why didn't you guys tell me? Let me see. Sorry, I didn't realize my camera was so, yeah, why did it look like that? Oh, okay, let me turn. There we go. All right. There we go. Now we're back. Okay, so the ceramic resin is a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 tablespoons of powder to 1 tablespoon of water. So this is a 3-to-1. So if you are interested in the resin powder, it comes in a container like this. There's no 2 parts mixing. It's just 1 powder and water. That's it. So this is an easy kind of resin to do. There's a place and a time for everything, guys. There's a place and a time for the powder resin. There's a place and time for the polyurethane, and also for the clear that you are used to using with the epoxy. Tonight we're going to talk about the polyurethane because it's a fast set resin. When I say fast set, that means that it takes generally about 5 or 10 minutes to completely set, but that also means that you only have about 2 minutes to work the resin before it completely sets on you. And once that happens, there's not much you're going to be able to do. It's going to set, it'll go quickly. And so I want you guys to see that tonight while we are working on these pieces tonight, okay? So I'm just clearing off my space over here so I can slide my molds over when I'm done using them, because like I said, it is going to go pretty quickly. So I have a clear cup here. I like this clear cup because, I like to use a clear cup because it makes it easier to mix and pour. I also like to use one that's a little bit, kind of gives a little bit, because that helps me to pour my resin into my molds and it doesn't drip everywhere. And so that's why I like to use my clear cup. When you are done with this cup, it has to go in the garbage. Do not try to rinse out your resin cups and use it for something else. It just, every time you pour, you need to have a clean vessel to put your resin in, okay? So, especially if you're using epoxy or something like that. I'm just trying to get all the residue out of the cup. Okay, so here's the thing. Hi, Vicky. Vicky says I'm frozen again. Just give us a second. It'll come back, Vicky. All right, so I'm not frozen on my camera. So it must be Facebook. Isn't it always the way Facebook? See, this is why we all need to be on YouTube. So please make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We cannot go live until we have 500 people. Don't forget that we are giving away a prize for, we're going to draw when we get to 500. We're going to draw so that everybody can participate. And if you go and subscribe to us on YouTube, then be sure that you put it on our site that you subscribed. Okay, so there's always usually, let me go back to my comments so I can read comments if you guys have any. Okay. All right. So there's usually always 2 parts to resin. Okay. So there's usually an A and a B. I usually mix my A first, and I take a popsicle stick because it's very important that everything is measured and is as precise as it can be. Because sometimes if you're not using the correct measurements, the resin will not set. Okay? And you want to make sure that you keep your A and your B separate. So in other words, even my popsicle sticks right here, because once these 2 chemicals mix together, that's it. I mean, you're pretty much done for. And you want to make sure that when you mix these 2, that you do it kind of quickly. Hi, Joanne. Not here. What? Not me. Oh, you guys are still okay? You're back? Okay. I know that it catches up with us pretty quickly, but sometimes it does freeze like that. But we're gonna hope that everything turns out. Okay, so this is my part 2 that I'm gonna mix in here, and it's equal. I used 50 milliliters of the A part and 50 milliliters of the B part. And I'm going to have to work a little bit quickly on this, so you guys just kind of have to watch. And I'm hoping that you will see. I'm hoping that you will see this happen. Okay, so this is A and B. I'm going to have about 2 minutes working time. You can see that it kind of turns pearlescent in the cup. And then the more I stir it, you see that I'm stirring it very gently. The more I stir it, the clearer it becomes. As soon as it turns clear, now this is the fast set polyurethane resin. As soon as it turns clear and there's no more pearlescent pieces in there and nothing else is, I've got it all mixed together, I am on the clock now, because as soon as it turns clear, it begins to set. So I am going to go ahead and start pouring my resin in, just like this, and you'll see that I am being very careful about how much I put in there, because I want to make sure that I don't overfill. So I'm just going to do these, and I'm pouring in a steady stream because I don't want it to overflow. I do need to take this popsicle stick and just make sure that I have it spread around evenly, because sometimes it doesn't fill the entire mold. And again, I'm on the clock now. I can feel the warmth of this polyurethane. There we go. That one's going to be good. And then I want to do my cameo right here. So I might just have enough resin for a couple of more pieces. Let me just, there we go. I'm just going to keep pouring in here until it all is used up, because again, like I said, once it is used up, that's it. I can't do anything else with it. It's already starting to get thick in my cup, so I know that I am almost done virtually with all of the resin. I can't really do much more because it is thickening up on me, and that's all I am going to get. Okay, so once that is already setting, you'll see in a couple of seconds, these will instantly start to turn white. And so I'm just going to make sure that all of my molds, like all of the corners and everything in my molds, are filled. So I'm going to give it just a second. I'm going to toss this in the garbage. There we go. I'm going to toss this in the trash, maybe. There we go. Now, the second that this starts to, no, Marina, these are silicone molds. Oh, we're going to be in Florida next Wednesday. Woohoo! I know I'm going to see you two down here. So as soon as these start to turn white, I can move them. And also another important thing when working with resin is that you always want to keep your cups that you pour your resin in, your A cup, make sure it always stays your A cup and your B cup always stays your B cup. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is when you pour the A into the B, it starts, oh, you guys can see already this white that's developing right here. That means that it is setting. So pretty soon, in like 10 minutes before we get off of this live, I will be able to unmold these for you guys. So you can see that they are already starting to turn white. These more than this one because this one was already turning in the cup. Yeah, the Cameo, you can already see it turning white. This one's starting to turn white, so you can virtually see it as it's happening. And I love that about this fast set resin. So I'm going to, yeah, you guys can see that. Isn't that cool? I like it. I like it. So this means that it's working. This is what we want, because after it turns all white and we give it about 10 or 15 minutes, it's going to completely be set and we're going to be able to do things with it before this broadcast is over. So isn't that amazing? So I'm going to put my two little cups back in their respective homes there in the box. And then I'm going to move these molds over to my other table over here so that I can show you guys. And you can see that they are absolutely starting to turn white. That means that the silicone mold is hardening and that the polyurethane is starting to do its thing. And Marina asked, will they stick? No, Marina, they won't, because they are silicone molds, and that's what these are designed for. So really, really cool. We're just going to set these aside because this is all I wanted you guys to see, was that they will start to set up. So let's go ahead and move these molds to this flat surface over here. And I'm going to get my coffee out of the way. There we go. And then we will be able to see what happens when these are completely set. Okay, I'm just going to move this off to the side here because I might just leave it up here so you guys can see as it starts to set. It literally is like 10 minutes. We used to see some fungus. Yes, or crystallizing, you know, when it starts to crystallize. Yeah. So we're going to leave that there. And I am going to talk about our new, yeah, what am I going to talk about? Our new scissor charms. That's what I was thinking. Our new scissor charms for Christmas. We have the Grinch with his little Grinch face, which I think is so cute. I know you guys, this holiday season is going to be all about the Grinch this year because I like the Grinch and he is so stinking personable. So I'm kind of like, yep, I'm going to do Grinch this year. We have Grinch signs that we're going to have. See, there we go. There's his little face. These are going to be some scissor charms that we are going to have for our scissors. I've got one for a holiday witch. I've got one that is a spider, if you want a spider for your scissor charms. Some people like to decorate their scissors, you know, for the holidays. You just never know. Let's see. I've got, I think this was his little face that popped out. And let me make sure because I don't want to. This one I love because it says, dust them off, ladies. It's riding season. Riding the broom. You get it? I think that's cute. We also have these adorable gingerbread men. Now, just because it says scissor charms does not mean that you can't use it for zipper pulls or decorations or whatever you want, guys. You don't have to, just stick to scissor charms because, that's what they are called. But you guys know as well as I do that sometimes you just need to have a little bit of creativity. We have this one right here that kind of looks like a mini domino. I like that one. Let's see what else I've got in here. I cut some today on the laser. Yeah, I like and a bat, if you like to have bats. All of these can be used as charms or scissor charms or zipper pulls, whatever you would like them to be. And then I got to show you the piece de resistance. This is my favorite one. This one is because of John. John came in this morning and he says, you know what? I was at Halloween Horror Nights and I saw the most amazing thing. And I said, what was it? And he said it was a guillotine. And I said, a guillotine? He said, yes, a guillotine. And so it has a hole here for your for your string to put in the zipper pull, but then it has this second little hole here for you to put a jump ring. And then there's literally a blade that hangs down from that piece. Isn't that cute? So, we have those as well. And then our little gingerbread men. So I'm kind of got you hooked up for all the holidays here. So if you're going to need the Grinch, like Diana says, I'm going to need that Grinch for my book. Then Diana, you can have the Grinch and decorate him any way you want. Of course, I'm going to use my paint markers to color my Grinch or my Hufflepuff hat right here with my little bats or my gingerbread man. This one is my absolute favorite. Dust them off, ladies. It's riding season. Isn't that cute? So any of these and all of these are available for you guys to add to cart. If you just absolutely need these in your life, I have all the holidays as well as the Grinch. Okay. I want to just draw your attention over here. Let's look at our mold real quick. You can see that there's still a little bit here that hasn't dried. It's still a little bit wet right there on the edge, but these other ones that were in the blue mold, they are pretty much, they're almost done. I can tap it with my stick here. So that's kind of neat. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. I wanted to show you guys, if you don't know, we do have the holiday fun fronts out. I'm just filling time right now while we're waiting on our thing to set. But if you have not done or seen our holiday fun fronts, they are currently out. If you pre-ordered yours, they are probably on the way. Now, guys, don't underestimate this page. I have seen Dina Carroll did a card that was really, really cute. And Jennifer did a card using these little pictures from the front. I love that you guys are even making sure that these guys get used so nothing goes to waste. That is absolutely amazing. So these fit exactly on an A2 card. And you can either cut them down or do whatever you'd like to them. But they also are used for scrapbooks. You can put them directly in your scrapbook. You can die cut them. These are so easy for you guys to make cards out of. All right. The one thing that I am going to show you while these are sitting is the Luscious Pigment Powders. We saw these the other day, but I'm going to use some gold on my little things here. All right. Do you guys find that this time of the year is... Yes, remember the make and take with those fun fronts. Yes, Marina, they were so beautiful. Jennifer did a great job. I'm going to just tap on this. Can you hear that? You hear that? That is already done. That one's not so much. That side's not so much. I'm just going to give them another minute or two to set. It doesn't hurt anything, but on this other blue one, I think these are pretty much ready to turn out. Underneath the mold, the chemical reaction that is taking place in this polyurethane is a thermo reaction because it produces heat. And so underneath my mold here, right directly underneath this cameo and these stars and things, it's a little warm. So if you want it to cure faster, you just make sure that it's not something that holds the heat in, and it'll cure even faster. So, but we didn't want that in this particular case. So I'm just going to check and make sure that these are ready. Yep, all of them are ready. And so I'm going to gently and delicately right now, because they're still, I would like for them to be a little bit more set, but they're, for all intent and purposes, they are beautifully set for you guys. Look at this one. Isn't that neat? So this is all completely set in the mold. So I'm just going to set these out to completely finish because this mold is keeping the heat in a little bit. And so I want them to release from the mold. That one's still a little bit gummy. Okay, let's do this one then. You can feel it on the edge if it's a little bit gummy, you know, like you can feel the edge is not so much hard as, look at that beautiful cameo. Isn't that gorgeous? She's going to be one of the things that I do tonight. So, all right. So I'm just going to loosen these from the mold by bending my mold a little bit. There we go. I can still feel the warmth inside of this little, it's not hot. It's just warm. That's kind of cool. All right, here we go. I don't want any of these to stick or possibly ruin the mold. That one looks like a button. So we're going to just let this completely finish curing and cooking on the edge here. So here are some gears. So nice. You guys are going to be able to see these in great definition here in just a minute. All right, here we go. This one has two little holes for our watch handle. How amazing is that? Are these not awesome, guys? How quickly... And you know what else I like about these is not only is the resin quick, you know, but it also, when it unmolds, it's ready to use. So I like that about these molds. Now this one's still a little bit soft, but you can see that it's a little bit pliable if you take it out of your mold early. Like as soon as it sets, because you can actually still mold them to a glass or whatever you want. But, you know, it's cool that you can do stuff with them still. There we go. How about that, you guys? Did you see how quick that was? Who wants to let these things sit all night? Not me. Look at these. So these are still a little bit warm. I don't think they're quite set. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. That one still feels a little bit soft. So I'm going to wait a few minutes because we've got these we can work on. So I'm just going to let these cook for a second. I just want to show you guys. So you know our Bocule sanding tool that we have developed? This is what this sanding tool is good for. Watch this. Do you see how I overcasted? I call it overcasting. How I overcasted my my mold there. Well, that's okay, because guess what? I can just take my scissors. Let me grab them here. And I can snip this polyurethane off of here. And I just am going to get most of it, not all of it, because then I'm going to use my little sanding tool here in just a second to... This one I think was a key. I think that was meant to be a key with some flowers on it. But anyway, so you can take and trim off. So if you're not the best at pouring molds, you know, you can always take and just That's why I like to use a cup that you can pour out of. Now, these are still a little bit pliable because guess what? They're still warm. So if there's anything that needs to be cut off or sanded down, you can absolutely do that at this stage. See that right there? So I can just snip that right off of there. This is what I love about this stuff. Now, when it gets hard, it'll be hard as a rock. Like there is no doubt about that. All right, let's look at our little watch here. All right, perfect. So I am going to sand off this edge here just because it's a little bit higher than the other edge. There we go. So I want it to be able to lay flat on my project. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting that little funky edge there that's going to keep it from laying flat. All right, and then we have our gears. Those are pretty cool. I like those. Now, I don't worry that they're white because guess what I'm going to show you? I'm going to get my Cameo here. All right. Here we go. I'm just going to make sure that she is nice and that she's nice and even on the sides. There we go. You guys, this is why I love this tool. There we go. All right. So you hear me just dropping these on the tray, right? You hear me? Like they're pretty solid. Okay, so these guys, I wonder if these guys are ready to come out. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we got these guys ready to come out too. Look at that. Ta-da! Look at that. And these are still somewhat pliable. So I can actually take, let's say I want to wrap this around my cup. I can actually put a rubber band around this piece right here and let it completely finish casting on my cup like that. And I just attach a rubber band to it if I want it to, you know, stay and finish molding like that. So I can absolutely let that completely cure in a circle and it will go on a candle or a cup or whatever I want it to go on. Isn't that cool? So I'm just going to use this jar right here to let it finish molding onto the jar so that it stays rounded. All right, so let's pop this guy out. And it's been what, maybe 5 or 10 minutes since we casted this? You know? So here we go. I'm just going to make sure that I have this one because this one's still a little bit pliable. So I'm going to, oopsie, get back here. I'm going to cast that onto this cup, and I'm just using my water cup here to make sure I have the shape. Oh, you're hearing thunder? So I'm just going to use these two wrapped around this cup here. You can secure it with tape or a rubber band or whatever you want to. But I think that it's probably going to be all right, just draped over that jar there, because that will help it to cure in a. I am going to tape these sides down just to make sure. I'm just going to use a piece of washi tape just to make sure that my sides don't lift up because I want them to, you know, be stuck onto my circular jar. So I have a mason jar or a cup that I want to make. Okay, come on, washi tape. You guys, why can't I find the edge of my washi tape? So frustrating. There it is. Okay. I want to just make sure that this is going to stay, you know, taped down to the side here. And then that way they will be already ready for me to put on my jar when they finish securing. I'm going to pop this little guy. He's not a little guy. He's a big guy. We're going to pop this big guy out just like that. You always want to bend your mold back, not your piece. You want to release the mold from the piece, not the piece from the mold. See that? There we go. Look how beautiful that piece is. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so we're done with the molds. I'm going to grab a little bit of black gesso. There we go. Just going to put that right on my mat. Does anybody have any questions at this moment? I don't know if you guys have ever done this, or if, you know, you've seen me do this, or you are just so enthused right now that you don't have any questions. But I'm going to take this black gesso and I'm just going to fill in all of the spots around this cameo that are white, because it's going to show the piece off 10 times more if you have black gesso on it. Now, could you add white or clear gesso? Absolutely. Do you have to put gesso on it at all? No. It's ready to take paint right from the gate. So I just make sure that all of my edges are painted. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to do the same with this piece right here. You don't have any molds. Really, Diana? You have everything. You don't have any molds? My goodness, I can't believe that. I guess Diana's going to have to get some molds then, huh? For those beautiful books. These things make great pieces on books, on the front of your journals or albums, stuff like that, because guess what? They aren't very heavy. They're very light and very sturdy. So they're not going to hurt anything by putting them on your book. It's not going to make it so heavy that you can't, you know, use it. So I'm just getting that black gesso all the way down inside of all the little holes, because I don't want anything to be visible through my black gesso. Okay, here we go. These are still somewhat pliable, guys. They're still kind of moving a little bit, but you know, it's okay. There we go. So I've got all of my little white spots. And there we go. So we're going to let that dry for just a moment, and then I'm going to show you how to make them beautiful. There we go. All right, I'm going to rinse off my brush. I'm probably going to grab another brush because I want to show you this one right here, the watch, with another paint. So I'm just going to wipe off this black gesso right here. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some acrylic paint. Diana says, nope, I don't need any more. Thank you very much. I don't need any more. Okay. So I have some, oh, I don't want to do this one in dark blue. I want to do this one in dark blue. I'm going to use some dark blue regular acrylic paint. This is Americana. Marina says, I am taking notes. So you can actually just go right on ahead and paint this with acrylic paint. See that? It does not matter. You just go ahead and paint it with anything. It accepts pretty much every type of paint. So isn't that cool? Like just regular acrylic paint. That's it. You don't even need gesso. I just like the black gesso because it's super, super dark. So there we go. I've got a little bit of the acrylic paint. I don't need to necessarily do the back, but there we go. How cool is that, you guys, right? There's my brush. I grab my paint. All right. There you have it. Look, my two pieces are still molding onto the jar, which is kind of cool. All right, and then I'm going to I wanted to show you guys my brand new, look at these that we have in stock. If you need a new heat gun, guys, these are the new BoQ heat guns. They have 2 speeds. It has a very nice heat cover here, so you don't, it kind of diffuses the heat instead of coming out in one big blast. It diffuses it, and it's teal and black. So, and it's very powerful. Like, it is super, super hot. So I'm just going to dry this off really quick. I'm actually going to turn it down because I don't want my mold to not set. There we go. You guys can see it drying. And I'm not getting very close to it because I don't want it to bubble or peel, or I just want to dry it. If you're in the market for a new heat gun, guys, this new heat gun that we got in is amazing. It is super, super powerful. Look at that. Oh my hell, she is so pretty. Let me just let those cool down and get back over here on this guy so we can... Now, suppose your piece is already set and you decide you want it to heat set and be on something round. And you're like, darn it, I don't want to recast this. Well, guess what? If you heat up the piece with your heat tool with this gun, because this is hotter than a regular heat gun, if you warm this up with your heat tool, guess what happens to it? You can actually turn it and make it a little more pliable. Do you see that? Yes, you can. Whoops. Yes, you can use the heat gun for paper embossing. Yeah, I just broke it because I didn't heat it enough. Look at that. Okay, so we're nice and dry. There we go. Beautiful. She's nice and dry. I still see a little bit of wetness on her. So I'm just going to dry her with this guy, just because this is not very hot. There we go. I hate watching paint dry, you guys. That is like one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't like watching paint dry. Okay, so let's say you have this piece right here and you want to add, oh, I don't know, some wax to it. Let's say we're going to do gold and maybe some silver. Let's do blue and silver on that one and black and gold on that one. All right, so I'm going to grab me one of my little sponges here. This is just so I don't have to stick my finger in the jar. So I'm going to use a little bit of our silver rub and buff here. Just get a little bit on my... Look at this, guys. This is now making all of that... It's now making all of that appear. All of that detail. See that? And then I can do my edges. I would use my little BoQ brushes, but they are all dirty in the sink in the kitchen. I did not do dishes after Saturday's class. Isn't that gorgeous? Ready for you to put on a project. See that? This is our silver rub and buff on one of the pieces that we just casted moments ago. Look at that. How gorgeous is that, you guys? Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous. It's just simply gorgeous. All right, now this one, I'm going to put a little bit of wax on, but I'm also going to use some some embossing powder. And that's what I wanted to show you guys tonight, was being able to put a little embossing powder on here with my my Wow embossing brush, if I can find it. It was up here on my desk some days ago. I might have to get my Versamark because I don't see my brush up here. Maybe it's in my drawer, possibly. You know what? I think I'm going to use my rose gold wax on her and then use my embossing powder. What do y'all think? Think that'll be good? All right, let's see. I cannot find my little Wow brush, so I'm going to just use one of my tiny little brushes. And I'm going to add some Versamark with my Versamark pad. Here we go. And I'm just going to wet my brush. This is my little tiny paintbrush. Okay. And I'm going to add some gold maybe to this rose right here. So I'm just taking my little tiny paintbrush and I'm painting right inside of this little rose with some Versamark powder. Some Versamark ink. There we go. And then I'm going to go right down inside of these ridges here. Okay, just like that. Now the reason I'm using one of these disposable brushes is so that I can throw it away when I'm done. And then maybe her earring right here. There we go. All right. I'm going to take my detailed embossing powder that I have right here, and I'm going to sprinkle some on to those places that I just, there we go, inside that rose, right inside of her gown there. And the reason I'm using my fingernails is because I'm too lazy to find my spoon. I want to see what it looks like. All right, so some embossing powder. Here we go. And then I'm going to take and blow this off with my breath. And you can see where I put that. Now, if I need to clean that up a little bit, like let's say I don't want that on the ridges, which I don't. I just want it down inside. I can take my little dry brush here. And I can just wipe it off just like that. And then I can do some accenting on that rose. All right. Now I'm going to take my heat tool, make it nice and hot before I bring it to my piece. Now watch this, guys. Did you see that? Woohoo! I love it when a plan comes together, y'all. Look at that. Did you see how fast that embossing powder set? That's because that tool is 380 watts. Now, just for reference, come on, light. Thank you. Just for reference, this little heat tool from Ranger is 90 watts. So 380 watts versus 90 watts. How cool is that? So yeah, it will emboss in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of this rose gold wax. You know what? It doesn't look like you guys can see that very well. I just want to make sure that you guys can see that. Isn't that gorgeous? I just want to make sure you guys can see that. We are really behind tonight. There we go. Yep, there she is. Okay, good. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my rose gold wax here, and I'm going to put a little bit of it on this cotton cloth, just like I did before. I could use a paintbrush, I suppose, and dry brush it. All right, there we go. And I'm just making sure that I have a little bit of that on there, and I'm ever so gently just brushing it across the ridges that are on. Look at that. Can y'all see that? I'm just being very gentle because I don't want to fill in any parts that I don't want, you know? So I'm just getting a couple of these colored waxes. Can I use other things on here? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could paint this with embossing powder. I could do any number of mediums on this. Look at that. How beautiful is she? Oh, I'm loving this. Okay, now I'm going to do a 3-tone on this one because I like how the colors are coming out. Marina's like, that is freaking cool, man. That is so awesome. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of silver, I think, or bronze. Let me see, maybe blue. What do y'all think about blue? Think we should add a little bit of blue? It's kind of electric, or pearlescent opal. Let's do opal magic, yeah. Because this one has a little bit of purple color to it. So we're just going to take our little thing here and flip it over. I have all manners of wax in my drawer here. Okay, let's hope this looks good on here. Yes, it looks purplish on here. So I'm just going to brush the edge here. How Halloween-y does this look, right? And this wax is a pearlescent. On white, it is white paper. I mean, on paper, it's white looking, but on this black piece, it is pearlized. How neat is that? There we go. You guys, I have so much fun when I'm playing on live. Look at that. Oh my goodness gracious. Isn't that gorge? Now I need to put something on her skin for sure, because I want to make sure that, although I don't know, can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. So one more. Now you guys might be asking, can you use just the wax on these pieces without having to, you know, like, can you just use the wax without having to paint them black? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. Watch this. If I want to just take the gold wax and put this on the dial of the watch, I absolutely can do that. I can just take this and just color the entire watch. Except guess what I did? I got a big old clump there. So this is better to use your brush because obviously see, this is what happens when you're too lazy to get your brushes out. This is why I use my little Bow Q brushes. All right, so I can absolutely take this and just brush it with the wax only, you know, and make this gold. And then I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to get that wax all down inside of all the places. You guys, we went and saw Downton Abbey on Saturday after we visited my mom, and it was such a great movie. If you guys do not follow Downton Abbey, you should watch the first two movies. They're really, 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 really great. I like Downton Abbey. I didn't at first. You know, I wasn't sure about them, but okay, so now I can do the reverse after I get finished painting this gold on here. I could actually brush some black gesso across the top of it and give it a very antique look. So yes, you can use just your waxes on these. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And I'm going to make sure I have the sides covered because we don't want to leave out our sides here. And I'm just forcing that wax down inside because I want to make sure, that's why I love my brushes, because I want to make sure that there's no white showing. It might have behooved me to go ahead and paint this maybe with a gold or something, gold pigment ink or something before I did this. But, you know, we always think of those things later. There we go. Okay, now I can let this dry for a moment. And then I'm going to brush it over with some black ink. Isn't that cool? Joanne said, oh, these are so beautiful. Well, Joanne, we might have to make some when you come down. I don't get to see Joanne that often, so Joanne, we might just have to play when you come. All right, there we go. Look how pretty. So you can absolutely use just your waxes or your paints. I am a kid. You're right, Vicki. I am a kid, and this is my candy store. You know, this is my candy store. Okay, so let's see. I have a little bit of this gold wax left on my brush, so I'm just going to brush it across her skin just to kind of give her, so that you can see that there's a human in there, you know, underneath that beautiful hair. And look at that. Isn't she absolutely spectacular? My goodness, I really, really like her. And then I can come in here where my embossing powder was and just kind of come down here on the edge. And it gives it so much different texture. All right, so let's get the black gesso. I'm going to grab my paintbrush here that I did not rinse out. And just kind of get the water out of it. And a little spot of gesso. Because I don't need that much, just the tiniest little bit. Probably just that much. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that my brush is nice and dry. Okay, and then I'm just going to tap my brush. And I don't want there to be a big glop of paint. So I'm going to spread it out really, really good on my mat. And you can see I'm kind of back and forth with my brush. And then I'm just going to take it and fan out my brush and just brush it across. Look at that. So we did it different. We did the gold on the bottom with the black on the top, and it kind of really makes it look patina. And you guys can see just how very dainty my brush is dancing on that surface, because I want it to be, look at that. Oh my goodness, guys. This turned out fantastic. There we go. Look how beautiful that is. Marina's like, yay! Okay, so what did we learn tonight? Besides that Joyce knows how to make a great big mess on her mat. We learned that we can use polyurethane resin that is also a fast set Diana says, now what are you going to do with them? If you look at my post from Saturday, you'll see that I used my big piece right here for the front of my album. I zhuzhed it all up, but I used the Luscious for that, which we can't get into tonight, but I'm going to be showing you guys that another day. But they will go on my tray, or, you know, like if I wanted to, let's say, put my Cameo right here in the middle of my tray. I know she's kind of big, but I could use that for a centerpiece on something. So I don't know yet, Diana. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her. You can also layer them. Look at that. You can layer them. I mean, put them on albums, whatever you want to do with them. They're very light, so, you know, they're kind of cute. You can add flowers to them or whatever. So anyway, we learned that you can use the polyurethane resin and you can make beautiful pieces very quick. And we do have the polyurethane resin in stock. So if you guys are wanting to order that, let me know. We have them in the small bottles and boxes, so you don't have to buy the half-a-gallon jug. So just let me know if you're interested in those. We also learned that you can paint them with acrylic paint. I could make the Cameo into a pin. That's absolutely right. The neat thing about this is that you can use a heavy, I like the Grab and Go from Indigo Blue, the Grab and Go glue. This one right here, we have in a larger bottle in the store, and it works really well for adhering these to things. So I would not use a hot glue gun because this is going to, you know, it's not going to set on here. So yes, you could absolutely, you could put ribbon around her and make her the centerpiece, all kinds of things. So we learned that you can use embossing powder on it. We learned that you can use wax on it, gesso, that you can do the reverse and put the wax and then put the gesso over top of it. Anything that your little mind can conjure up, you can do with these pieces. We learned that if you remove them from the mold before they are completely set, you can actually make them round. So now all I have to do is paint them and glue these onto my jar. So like say I want to put some on my jar, you know, so it's already bent and ready to go for my jar. So how cool is that? So yeah, there's a lot that you can do with the polyurethane resin. So we are actually going to have a class in October where we are doing a pumpkin with Cindy Green. She's going to come over and teach a class where we're going to be molding these pieces and gluing them to a pumpkin and making a nice fall pumpkin for the holidays. So she's going to be doing that class in October. It's the end of October. So you're going to have to join us if you want to make that. I'm telling you guys, when you see that schedule come out for October, November, and December, you're going to want to jump on those classes because I'm telling you, your holiday is going to fill up fast and you're going to miss a lot of these things that you want to do, but you can't because now you're committed to all these other things. So I want you to make sure that you're making room on your holiday calendar for BoQ Creations, because guess what? We're trying to make your Christmas gift giving easy this year. We want to show you and give you ways that you can give gifts of the homemade sort to your family or friends or whoever you need to provide gifts for. So we're trying to help you out with that this holiday season to make sure that you have what you need. And also on the weekend of November, the first weekend in November, we are going to be having a handmade craft sale. It will be things that people have made, albums, journals, pins, whatever, cups, whatever you want. And they're going to be we're going to be providing tables. So if you're interested in selling your handmade crafts at our craft fair, you're going to want to reserve a table. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon. Let me see what else I need to tell you. I think that is it. Does anybody have any questions for me? You can send them to Diana Noggle. Okay. Diana, I love you. What are you going to do with them? She says, send them to Diana Noggle. That's what I'm going to do with them. All right, guys. I have taken enough of your time this evening. I hope that you enjoyed our live broadcast. We are going to save this over on our YouTube channel. So please be sure you hop on over there when we upload this and like and subscribe. Those two things are very important. Not only do you have to like the video that you're watching, you also want to click the subscribe button because that's what helps us help you. Okay? So if you have not done your YouTube duty on the BoQ Creations channel, please do so we can get up to 500 subscribers and go live on YouTube for you guys. Okay? Have a great evening, guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you this time next week. All right, guys? Have a great day. Bye.